Hello everyone, Marshalman here, and today we're going to be discussing the 5 most effective judo throws and how they could be applicable in the street. Judo can be very useful in the street, no matter if you have muscle or not. If you're tall or short, it does not matter. Judo uses the 3 core principles of leverage, speed, and timing to overcome your opponent. As you can see in this video, Kyozo Mifune, a grandmaster of judo, renowned for his experience in the art, is taking down his larger student with no problem at all. You could even say that it's smooth and ease. Now, to use judo in a street fight, you must know what throws and when to use it. So, today we'll be going over the 5 most effective judo throws in a street fight. We will also be going over why they are applicable and how they could be applied in a street fight. The first technique we will be looking at is the O Sotogare, which means major outer reap. This technique is very good for the street because it's one of the most basic and most fundamental techniques that you'll learn in judo. This technique is the first technique you'll ever learn and the last one you'll ever master. This technique comprises of 2 parts. You grabbing your opponent and reaping their legs out from under them, making them tumble onto the floor. This requires kazushi, which means unbalancing. Right there, kazushi. And to not get hurt, this requires a proper break fall. But in the street, this throw can be very useful to you if you know how to use it properly. You could counter collar grabs with it and most other attacks, such as grabbing the shoulder, the collar, or behind the shirt, behind your neck. And when he does that, you could use him to your advantage and throw him on the floor. After this, you could throw them on their back and go straight to newaza, which means ground techniques. If there are 1 opponent, then you may go straight to newaza. If there are multiple, then you may reconsider going to newaza. Right away after, you may go to jujigatame. We think that this one is very applicable in the street and useful to know. This next technique is called hizagoroma, which translates to knee wheel. This defensive move is used when an attacker is rushing at you, or he has grabbed you and he's trying to take you down. Now this can be very useful when an attacker is running at you with a fist ready or even a weapon. This technique can help you through all situations. And this does not require kazushi if the attacker is running at you. You could probably just stick your leg out and he'll fall over it because there's so much momentum that's going through his leg. And when you block that momentum, he suddenly goes flying in a big wheel, hence the name, knee wheel. This technique is seen a lot in the judo tournaments, but don't make it seem less any effective. This move can be very effective in a street fight if you know how to use it. But this technique can also be used while gripping. The grips for this technique are lapel and sleeve, the most basic grip in all of judo. Even though these are basic techniques, they could help you a lot in a street or bar fight. The amazing part of this technique is that you don't need to push on their knee. All you have to do is stick your foot out in front of their knee. Our next technique is called tsukui nage, which has 3 variations. It translates to scooping throw, and that's exactly what it is. We chose this because it looks like a very good counter to a side headlock, one of the most common moves in a street fight or a bar fight. This basically requires no grip at all. All you need is the attacker's legs and to squat down and send them flying up into the air. The other 2 variations of the tsukui nage may not be very useful to you, but this one surely is. The variation 2 of the tsukui nage. This variation is a counter to uchimata, the inner thigh throw. But you will never see an Uchimata in a street fight. I guarantee it. Unless the street fighter has done judo. But that is highly unlikely. So there's 99% chance that you'll never see Uchimata in the street. This variation of the Tsukuinage will not help you very much in the street, is what we believe. This is the third and final variation of the Tsukuinage, the reap counter. This Tsukuinage may help you in the street, as people may go for the reap, since it's a simple and basic move. If executed correctly, this move can be deadly, since you could plant them on their head or their neck, paralyzing them, or even killing them. What we do know for sure is that the Tsukuinage is going to help you in a street fight. Next up is the Morotegari, which literally means double reaping. Morotegari is basically just a double leg takedown from BJJ or a tackle. This can be very useful because this is one of the most common attacks in a street fight. And most people will not know how to sprawl or defend the double leg. It can be a very effective move when applied because you end up on top in newaza. After this, for example, you could stomp on their groin or kick them in the face. This is one of the oldest throws that originated from sumo and a martial art called jujutsu, which is based on warfare combat. Our final throw is called the ogoshi, which means large hip or major hip. Ogoshi can be executed in many different ways, such as ukigoshi or utsurigoshi, which means shifting and floating hip. But the most basic of them all is ogoshi. This can be performed by pulling your opponent forward and loading them onto your hip, after bumping your hips up and throwing your opponent to the floor. This can be very useful because you still have their arm and you may go straight to newaza, straight into a jujigatame, which means straight arm lock. The ogoshi can also be used to control a charging opponent, which can be very common in a street fight. The ogoshi is done by wrapping around your opponent's head and taking them down. If they have a belt or a pant waist, then you could grab that as well. Same with all the other throws. The ogoshi does not have much grips, so you may just grab the wrist and seatbelt their back, which means wrap around their back. Overall, we think that these are the 5 most effective throws that you can ever use in a street fight. We hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.